everybody! We are here, we are back. Welcome to Debate Hub. I am Chesh. This is Manya, and we've got DrWitnesser here with us because we bumped into each other over talking about some of his content and some of the little bit of controversy he's been running into in having conversations attempting to preach the gospel on games like Fortnite, where he's run into kids a couple of times, and people seem to be having a bit of an issue with that, which, kind of understandable, but he was willing enough to come on and have a conversation with us. We are going to try and keep it respectful, as he does not have headphones on right now, so we are going to try and keep our swearing to a minimum. So if you see us struggling, we are going to try our best. We're going to try and keep it as friendly as we possibly can. And, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
What's that?
Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, I'm DrWitnesser, and I go into games and I teach people about the Bible. Stream on Kick, I'm a YouTube channel, TikTok, you name it.
Wonderful. Okay, I like to give people a chance to shill their stuff and kind of talk about who they are to make sure I haven't misrepresented anything. So we had a handful of questions. So I think we should probably just make sure we're all on the same page here. You saw some of what we had said, but I don't know how much you had seen. So do you want to get
The only thing I saw was you guys kind of like going like at videos. Like
that's pretty accurate.
When I jumped in, like, and it said hi, that's what I saw.
Oh, okay, cool. No problem.
I was scrolling through my YouTube stuff, and then I saw that on the live, and I was like, oh, I'll pop in.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So we I think our main contention that we ran into when taking a look at your content was this incident about this telling some Muslim child that he was going to go to hell. Was the reason that you had gotten banned on Twitch and TikTok.
That was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And somebody in chat had informed us that.
But that's not why I got banned either. That's just speculation. Twitch does not tell you why you got banned or suspended from the platform. That is complete speculation.
So then isn't it speculation if you say that you were banned for preaching?
That was the first suspension, too, in July of 2020. Sure. That wasn't even the last one.
Yeah, I saw the date on it was 2020. So then when you say at the beginning of your channel on your trailer that you were banned for preaching, is that then also speculation?
Well, since I don't swear and I don't have any inappropriate content and I don't talk about inappropriate things, I mean, sexually, explicitly, or anything like that, what else could be the reason?
So yeah,
there's people who are on Twitch who do way worse, hot tub streams and all that. So that's speculation, but I think you could prove it.
Well, you could infer, I think, is what you're talking about. You could infer that this was the reason because you don't think what you're saying is bannable for any reason.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, if that's what you want to say.
Yeah, so I just want to, again, make sure we're on the same page here. So this was 3 years ago. Is this still a way that you communicate and talk with kids? Or did you change your tactics?
Well, I think I don't know why you guys are focused on kids so much. I never branded myself as going into. Can I finish talking?
Yeah, go.
I never branded myself as talking. I never branded myself as going into Fortnite to preach to kids. I just go into Fortnite to teach the gospel to people in games, and some of them happen to be kids. We can go to the Twitch channel right now and scroll through the thousands of channels where plenty of adults are playing Fortnite.
Sure.
I'm looking at your channel right now, though. If I may give you a little pushback, your thumbnails consist of children.
Yeah, because it's playing off of what people are saying.
Do you not?
It's going to be clickbait,
I agree.
If people are marketing me as like going into Fortnite to teach people the Bible to children, they're going to be like, "Oh, see," and they're going to click on that and they're going to watch the video.
So, do you not make your thumbnails?
I make my thumbnails.
So that's branding your channel, branding your content, right?
Branding and what?
So if you make
what do you mean? Like you're saying, oh, right there, see, you're marketing yourself that you do it to children. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that if you make your thumbnails and you are creating thumbnails to bring traction to your channel.
Clickability, yeah.
Right, which makes sense. Every YouTuber does it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fault you for making attractive thumbnails.
Right.
And those thumbnails have you advertising that you're having these conversations with children. That's you advertising yourself talking to these kids, even if it is a small % of your actual content.
I mean,
right?
Sure, go for it.
So then it's not other people branding you as talking to kids. It's you branding yourself as talking to kids.
No, you guys and other people make it sound that's all I do, and that's what I'm there to do.
I will
say that even if it
listen
was
to what you said. You guys were like, you talk to children, right? You talk to kids, blah blah blah. Like,
no,
you don't mention
because
you talk
that's
to
the
kids
worry. Because that's the
adults.
issue that needs.
You're not you talk to kids and
Hold on,
adults
dude.
and all kinds of
Let
people
her
of all
finish.
ages. You focus
Let her
specifically
finish.
on the
Let
kid
her
part,
respond.
don't you?
No, it's fine.
Let her
It's fine.
Let her
so no, it's okay. We can.
I think we have some audio delay between.
There is a delay.
Okay.
Yeah, VMix has a delay.
Okay.
It's okay. So
go ahead.
If I say that, even if it's not the majority of your content, but it is your thumbnail, so it's you presenting your content that you are speaking to a child, even if it is 10% of your content, so you're only talking to kids 10% of the time.
I think it's 2 thumbnails right now, and the third thumbnail is actually my son, and it's not even talking about that. But there's 2 thumbnails out of the hundreds on my YouTube channel that have a kid on them, by the way. Only 2.
But if in 2022 you got
but what? 2 thumbnails out of the hundreds.
Hold on.
Right.
And you're like, whoa.
But what I'm talking about is if in 2022 you got banned off of 2 platforms, right? And it seems to be related. If in 2022. If in 2020 you got banned off of 2 platforms, right? You got banned off of TikTok, you got banned off of
well, in 2021 in January, I got banned on Twitch, and then when I came back to streaming like months later, I found out I got banned on TikTok because I wasn't using TikTok, and I got back on it, and I found out I was banned for no reason.
Gotcha. And people don't seem to have any issue with your content regarding your preaching to adults, right? That doesn't seem to be an issue.
I don't know.
Do you think it would be?
I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue if he preaches to adults in video games. My only worry is preaching to children. That's what it is.
What's worrisome
and not
about
even
telling
preaching.
people about not lying and not stealing and loving Jesus? What's worrisome about that?
My thing is talking to children at all. At all.
So if I walk down the sidewalk and there's a parent and a child, I'm like, oh, hey guys. Oh, you talked to a child.
No, time out. I'm going to time you out right there. There's a parent and a child in the scenario that you just brought up.
There's a guardian present.
But
and if the guardian says fuck off, you're going to fuck off.
There was a parent that let their child get onto Fortnite and voice chat with people.
So, I agree.
They're expecting similar...
Wait, time out.
Go on.
I agree. I think he is 100% correct. There is an issue that exists that parents do not understand that when their child is going onto the internet and onto a game like Fortnite, there is no rating for that. You can't rate that. As much as Fortnite has tried to rate itself PG-13, there's a reason there's a plus on the end. The rating system does not apply to the internet because the people who make the game have very little control over what people can just speak out. Right? So I do agree that there is an issue there.
To be fair, Fortnite and other games have put things into practice to help manage that, and because there are people who nefariously go into games and actually seek out children and groom or say harmful things to children. And there are a lot of parents that have actually taken control and put those privacy settings on those games and
you believe
and
that
do their due diligence. So
you believe that preaching like you do should be added to that? Because it's a parental concern,
they'd have
right?
to they'd have to do that to every single religion in the world, and then you're going to open up a whole nother box.
Sure, if you do that for like speaking on any kind of dogma, so that would include atheism as well. So like any kind of conversation around religion.
Well, yeah, I mean they're teaching evolution in our schools, and they don't see a problem with that. And I think if people went on to Fortnite and started preaching evolution in Fortnite, I don't think people would have a problem with that because they're like, yeah, that's science.
I am very curious about something. Can I
Hold
ask
on.
this one question first? I really want to know. I'm just very curious.
Okay, go on.
Do you believe in young Earth creationism? Like, do you believe the Earth is like 6,000 years old or whatever it is?
Yeah,
Of
course.
I just wanted to clarify. So go ahead, Mike.
That's what the Bible teaches.
So, number one, school and Fortnite are very two different
Well,
places.
first of all, do you guys have any kids?
No.
Nope.
Do you guys have kids?
Nope.
No.
Mhm.
You don't have any
I have
kids?
nieces and nephews.
Okay.
Though,
That
with
doesn't
whom
count,
I'm very
but
close.
okay.
Oh, maybe not for you. For where I come from, yeah, you're like a second parent to them. So,
Because I say it
number
doesn't count
one,
because
if I may
when you have
finish,
a kid of your own, it changes your perspective on life considerably.
Different cultures have a different view on
Different
like how involved and like what the family
yeah, you
is
are with
like.
the child.
So,
Yes.
go ahead,
So,
Monty.
number one, schools and Fortnites are very different. Parents give their consent to send their children to school. You're right in a way that parents are consenting for their children to be on the platform, but what is your responsibility in all that? That's my question.
Well,
how much responsibility are you going to take?
As a minister who goes into places and teaches the gospel, you can look this up at Christianity.com as well. And in the Bible, it is taught and seen as no problem as teaching kids about God and what happened, how we're here, about love and respecting people and not lying and not stealing and not hating your fellow kids and people.
I'll go a step further.
As a minister, like my view is there's nothing 0% wrong with telling a kid about the gospel of salvation in a way of asking them, hey, do you want to talk about the Bible? That's what I do. I go and talk to people about the Bible. Oh, sure.
Do you still tell kids that they're going to go to hell?
Well, first of all, I didn't tell the Muslim kid he was going to go to hell. That's a myth. And if you bring up,
do you still say the same? Do you still say the same thing? Do you still say the same thing?
Let me finish. So that clip, it says, if you were to die in your sins today, you would be sentenced to hell. And what that clip doesn't show or see is the whole entire conversation. And though I admit that phrasing, I have changed the way I say it to people as a result of people freaking out over that sentence. I still, I say it in a way like, so that clip was me using the kid as the example. In other words, when you talk to people about the message of salvation, you have to tell them the whole story and why they need saved. Okay. So when you say we've all, you've sinned, or you question the individual and you say, have you lied before? And they're like, yeah, well, God says, if God were to judge you, would you be innocent or guilty? And the person's like, guilty or innocent. And then you explain to them, well, so if you were to die today in your sins, you'd be sentenced to hell. But we all deserve that hell because we've all sinned. And God, but there's hope. God died died for us. He's died on the cross. He said he took that punishment for us so we could be saved and go to heaven. So there's a lot more to it. But so that sounds harsh. That little clip sounds harsh.
Sure.
So if I do talk to kids about it, I give them what you would call a Sunday school version of the Bible. And I would just be like, yeah, God died for us so we could be forgiven and go to heaven, and that's really cool. Do your parents take you to church? Do you have a Bible at home? So I don't use that verbiage. I do it in a different way, and I use everybody as an example, not that person as an example.
So you still tell people that they're going to go to hell, even if they're children. You just
you're
using
let me finish. Again, you're using the wrong verbiage. You're using the wrong verbiage. You're just like you tell people you're going to go to hell. Like no.
Let me finish.
I tell people the consequence of sin, which is death, which is hell. I don't say, "Hey, Chess, you're going to go to hell." I never said that. I've never said that to anybody.
So you just say you're going to die, and what?
I say the consequence of sin is death, and aka hell.
So,
and I don't say you're going.
I don't
to
know
hell.
if death makes that better. Because if you say, if you Muslim child, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to die. I don't think that sounds better than, hey, Muslim kid, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to go to hell.
That's not what I say. I explain it. I just don't say, hey, you're going to die.
Right, but you have to explain the consequence, right? That's what you said.
The consequence of sin is death, and then I explain what that death means.
But you said that death means hell. So
I don't tell a kid that. I tell.
So what do you tell them?
I don't really go into that part of it when I talk to kids anymore.
Okay, so
I just say, "Hey, Jesus died for sins." If I'm talking to an adult, I'll talk to that.
Sure, an adult can have an adult conversation. That's fine.
You know, if I'm talking to a 6-year-old or 7-year-old,
which
doesn't really happen that often, I'm not going to say, "Hey, you're going to go to hell, kid." Like, that's not what I say at all.
So ultimately, you have changed your verbiage and your approach.
Like I said, I changed the way I introduce the Bible to younger children when I'm talking to them on Fortnite.
So you're right. So, but what you change it to is that, hey, did you know this guy named Jesus loves you, and people sin a lot, and he's died for your sins to save you from that sin, and then just leave it there?
Pretty much. Usually that's how it goes.
Okay.
And older kids, like teens to young adults, usually ask me a bunch of questions about what I said. And then we can go into, like, you know, because so there's some mature kids and they might have questions. And then, like, but if it's like a young one, like the other day when I ran across like the 6-year-old, you know, I might mention it, and if he doesn't sound like he's paying attention and interested, I'll just stop and I'll just play the game and I'll try to get it up, you know. But sometimes when you run across a kid and he sounds pretty smart and mature, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, my mom and dad teach me the Bible every day." You know, I ran across one. I know he was like 8 or 9. He was like, "My dad reads the Bible to me every night." And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And, you know, we kind of just, you know, like had a good little discussion about it, and then that was it. And we won the game, and that was it, you know. And so, yeah, the Muslim scenario, first of all, the Muslim kid video was around a time period when I first started doing it. And I didn't even ask people if they wanted to talk about it during that time frame. I would just go in and be like, "Hey, do you believe in Jesus? Or do you believe in God? Do you believe in the afterlife?" And but so after that, because I didn't want to get banned on Twitch, and so after that, I changed my approach because people were criticizing how I did it. So I did change my approach, and I did it in a more open, friendly manner as far as like how you introduce it and stuff. And then I got a second ban, and I was like super surprised that I got banned because I was like, "What did I do? I changed. I ask people now. I ask if they want to hear about it." And you know, and they either say yes or no, you know.
I think so. If you're asking people if they want to talk about it, and you're still going in that direction where you're telling someone that they will go to hell unless this, I think so that still is kind of like bannable under Twitch guidelines.
Again, you're stuck on the phrasing, "You're going to go to hell."
Well, no, that would still apply to adults as well.
I have never used that phrase to anybody before. I have never straight up told somebody, "You're going to go to hell."
Well, you're saying if they do this or they don't do this, they're going to go to hell.
If you're not a Christian and you don't understand how the plan of salvation or ever read the Bible, that's a lot of the phrasing I hear people use. "You told that kid he was going to go to hell." And it's like, that's not at all what I said.
Then I think so.
I
explained to him the message of salvation, the consequence of sin. And I make sure I include everybody, and I say we all deserve that death.
Can we bring up the clip of hell?
I have it. So I'm gonna play
You don't need to bring it up. You can bring it up, but I know I explained to you exactly what I said. I said if you were to die in your sins today, you would be sentenced to hell. That's exactly what I said.
Let's clarify that, yeah. Let's clarify that. If that's what you said, then that's fine.
Afterward, conveniently, the video cuts off and doesn't catch me explaining that to the kid. See, that's what I'm saying. You guys are going off of, you and everybody else is going off a 40-second clip of what I said and not hearing the 10-minute conversation I had with this kid. You know, it's not like I go in there and I'm like, "Hey, you're gonna go to hell."
It's actually a minute
and 15 of a 10-minute conversation. Go ahead.
So yeah, let's play the clip. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. It's gonna take me just 1 second. I gotta add a thing in here that I didn't realize wasn't in here. Uno momento, por favor. Alright.
in believing that Jesus isn't the Son of God, you're denying every other scripture before that has ever happened and saying that it's not true.
Sorry, 1 second. It's going to take me just 1 second. I got to add a thing in here that I didn't realize.
Anybody.
Here.
Anybody who sits there and says Jesus is not the Son of God, because what I'm saying is you're denying what Scripture says. You're denying the hundreds of prophecies that were fulfilled through Jesus.
Yeah, well, I'm denying that because usually what you're talking about, since you're American and Christian, since the Muslim culture, we don't really talk about that.
Yeah, you don't talk about it because they don't want to believe it. That's why.
Well, it's because Muslim culture, we've been through different things through America and Christians. And
Hey, forget the fact that it's America, dude. It's just the Christianity in general. It doesn't matter that I'm in America. Christianity is all over the world. So look, if you were to die in your sins today, you would be sentenced to hell. And God, the living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God that created the earth in 6 days and rested on the seventh, he is telling you that the only way to heaven is by turning from your sins and trusting in his Son who died for your sins. That's what God teaches.
Because they wanted to clip something out of context and show it to the world and say, look, he's telling this Muslim kid he's going to go to hell. But what they didn't see was me explaining what I meant by that, meaning we all deserve that hell. We all are going to that death because of our sin against God. And that's what the clip doesn't show. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody,
Let him finish.
take this clip and run with it and be like, look what he did. And there's a whole nother conversation that's behind that clip that you guys don't know about, which is why media is stupid when it comes to that.
So, if this is out of context, it means that what you said in there wasn't what you were saying.
Yeah, because I explained it.
So
that clip doesn't show me explaining the rest of it, does it?
But you did mean what you said.
Explained it to you, like I explained to you guys what that meant.
It meant that people are going to go to hell, no matter who they are.
It means, listen, it means that everybody, the whole planet, deserve that hell, are going to that hell. Unless we repent and trust in Jesus and believe in his sacrifice, then we can be forgiven and be saved and go to heaven. Because if you read the Bible, it says that death is what we all deserve because of our sin against God.
So the only thing you changed from this clip to what you said now was you said everybody deserves it, not just you, child, this will happen to you if XYZ.
You mean in my approach to what I tell people now?
Well, what you just said, like the context that you just added to this.
Well, I added the context about what that means. Again.
Well, so in the clip, you said
in that whole conversation, you can't just be like.
I'm trying to pull out the thing that you just described about what you were adding in to clarify it, right? And I'm trying to say, what about what you're saying now is not or missing from the clip that was pulled? In the clip, you talked about Jesus, you talked about salvation, you talked about sin and how it applies, and you talked about how if this, then that, and talked about you're going to go to hell, right? So you didn't add anything in your description of the additional context that wasn't in that clip. The only thing you changed was that talking to individual and saying you individual are going to go to hell versus the entire world is going to go to hell.
No, I didn't say that the context or the conversation after the minute and 15 was me explaining to him everybody in the world deserves that. I don't remember the whole entire conversation, but I know how I witnessed to people, and I know it didn't end there. And
that's fine, but what I'm asking is, if it's out of context, what is the context that's missing?
And yeah, how that context...
Explaining what hell is and how we all deserve it because of our sin, not just him. Okay? It's not the fact that he's a Muslim that he's going to hell. That's not
okay,
at
I
all.
see.
Listen, that's not at all the reason.
Okay, I understand.
It's we all deserve that. We were having a debate and conversation about Islam versus Christianity before the whole "you're going to hell" thing.
So
we were having a debate about Islam versus Christianity.
They're a child. You're not having a debate. Okay.
Listen, I told you this kid was mature. Okay, he
Yeah,
knew a lot.
How many
Listen,
times? How many times did you?
And
Can I
this is
finish
what I-
talking?
this is what
Besides
I-
you
Time out.
guys are
Time out.
interrupting.
Everybody, time out.
This is a minute
how
15 clip.
how many
Okay,
times did you talk
before-
to this child beforehand?
How many times have I talked to this child beforehand?
Have you? Yeah. How did you try? How have you talked to this child beforehand? If so, how many times?
No, this was the first game I ran across him.
Okay. And
How
how
did you know that
long
he's
about?
mature?
Wait. Time out, Manya. How long is your average game of Fortnite? Second.
Like
How long is your-
15 minutes.
So you
If it
talked to
goes
this kid
well.
for. So you talked to this kid for 15 minutes, and during that conversation, you had how long before you start asking or start talking about these things into a game? Do you think?
That was right away. Like probably
Okay, so you come in. So
within the
you have
first couple
never
minutes of
spoken
entering
to
the
this.
game.
You never.
I was
spoken
talking
to
to
this
him
child
about Islam and
before.
Christianity for a good like 5-7 minutes or something like that.
So
before
within
you
5
even
and
got into
7
it.
minutes, you decided how mature this child is.
You can't discern how mature somebody is just by talking to them.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
have no idea whether or not this child is or is not mature enough
And
to
this is
handle
what
this
my problem
conversation.
is.
I'm saying you can't discern whether or not somebody's mature enough to handle a
No,
heavier
but-
conversation.
But you can't.
Not a child.
Yeah, I can actually. When you have a
Oh.
conversation with
And
somebody,
this
you
is
get
what
an
my
idea
problem
of
is.
how much they know, especially how much
And
he
this
knew
is-
about Islam. If you were talking to this kid, he knew a lot about Islam.
Well, every
And
child
this-
knows
and
a lot
that's-
about the religion
and
they
that's
follow,
not
isn't
in
it?
that
And
clip.
that they're preached.
Like I'm saying,
Well,
you
hold
guys are.
If I
First of
may,
all,
my turn.
why are
My
we
turn.
spending 10
Hold on.
minutes talking about this clip?
Because
Because you won't
that's what my
answer a
problem is.
question.
What's your
Go
question?
ahead.
The thing is,
What's your
my
question,
problem
then?
is that she will ask
No,
a question. I'll just interject.
Chess said,
Hold on.
because you're not answering our question. What's your question?
I'll
Why
get
do
to
you
it.
think
I'll
it's okay
ask
to
it
talk
after,
to kids
but-
online?
What?
Why do you think? Why do you think it's okay to talk to kids online?
Because God told us to go throughout the whole world and spread the gospel
Oh.
message to every creature. That's
Oh,
why.
so because so
Do you talk
so
to frogs
because God,
too?
Because God told us that we should spread the gospel to every creature. And you know, if you ever read the Bible, by the way,
Do you preach at the zoo?
have you ever read the Bible?
Yes. Do you preach
Yes.
at the zoo?
The whole thing, front to back.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you preach at the zoo?
Do you know that Jesus said, "Come, let the little children come to me"?
Oh, yeah, but-
and,
Yes.
and anybody
I'm not-
who harms these children, you know, like it'd be better off if a
Dude,
millstone
the
was tied to
thing
their
that
neck
you
and
were
they're thrown
saying
in the
that a
bottom of the lake.
child is
Time
mature.
out,
You know how
out.
Jesus
Time out.
says that everybody, even these children, will inherit the kingdom of heaven, and how we should not
Yes.
keep the gospel from the children.
Uh-huh.
So, what is your problem with going into games and teaching kids about the Bible? Then, what is your
Before
problem
that,
with it?
do you preach at the zoo?
Of course, I don't preach at the zoo.
Do you preach to frogs or flies or cats?
Are you gonna make fun of the Bible
No.
some more? So ask
Are
your
you
other
gonna-
question
She's
then.
going
I
literally.
haven't,
You're
I
going
haven't
literally,
made
so she's
from,
also going literally.
I haven't made from.
You're making fun of the Bible right now by asking those
No.
questions. Yes, you are.
Also-
I said the verse says to preach to every creature, and like, why don't you go preach to a dog, or why don't you go preach to a frog? You're mocking it
You're
right now. So
taking-
why don't
no,
you ask
I'm-
a real
I'm-
question instead
So
of
what
asking
I'm
me
saying-
if I talk to animals? Then
Let her
Because
respond.
you
to
don't
that.
understand the
You
don't
context
want
of
me
the
to
verse
answer?
clearly, or you wouldn't be asking
Dude,
that question.
Let her.
You want me
Dude,
to
let her
answer your
answer.
question?
What?
I said, do you want me to answer your question?
Answer what question?
You're asking me if, well, you're accusing me of making fun of the Bible. You're asking me what else am I doing then? Do you want me to answer that?
What else are you doing? What?
With asking you as to if you're preaching to frogs or not. And why I
Sure,
would ask
go
that
for it.
question. So, the answer is that if you're going to take the Bible literally to mean that you should be
Oh,
approaching...
again, like I said, you're saying look at
Let
that
me
verse and go to the
finish.
Strong's Concordance
Let
and read
me
what that
finish.
means. I'll do it for you. Hold on.
Let me finish. So...
I know where you're going with
If
this.
you-
That's why. I don't care if you
Apparently.
finish or not, because I know exactly where you're going with it, and I'm going to
Oh,
get
so you
the,
don't-
wor-
Well,
the
then
verbiage
conversation.
right now.
then let's do it for the audience's sake instead of yours.
I don't
So-
care about the
Yeah.
audience.
What do you mean? Don't you want to preach to people?
You're getting real,
Sorry, I couldn't
real
help it.
annoying.
No. You said you want to reach
I'm
out
not
to people
here
and
for the
preach.
audience. I'm talking to you
Then
two.
what are you here for?
But
what
no,
are you here
no,
for?
no,
Oh,
no.
if
Time
you're
out,
going to
time
talk
out.
to
Manya,
us,
Manya,
hold on.
Manya, Manya,
He's gonna
Manya.
talk to
Time
us.
out. Time out. It's fine. If he wants to, then if you want to present your stuff,
You guys
and your
wanted to ask me
argument-
questions, and you're
and
like, "Oh, don't you care about the audience?"
Wow, that's so
Do you
much.
not
Are you
want?
trying?
I'm so confused. So here's the thing. The reason why I ask, if you are preaching to a frog or if you're preaching at a zoo is because you are using this verse as your reasoning as to why you are approaching children alone as a stranger.
Again, in a Fortnite game that's public, that parents know their kids are going in.
The public park is public.
And there's no law against talking. Like, you go onto any YouTuber, go to Dr. Disrespect, go to Ninja, go to Tim the Tatman, go to Cypher BK.
What about
Are you guys going to their channels and saying, why are you posting that video with that child in your YouTube channel that just got 10 million views?
Let's talk
you
about
don't seem to have a problem with them talking to children or putting children up in their YouTube videos.
This is all whataboutism.
You don't know what
if it happens to be about the Bible, oh, now it's like a big deal.
You have no idea.
Let's focus on you today.
About what our problem is. This is fallacious. So, because you're using this as a reason, right? You're using this verse as a reason to approach children as a stranger on the internet. Right?
What? So ask your question again. I'm sorry.
You're a stranger on the internet to these children, correct?
Yeah, everybody is.
Okay. And their parents are in on this conversation?
What's that?
Are the parents in on any of these conversations?
No.
Okay, so you are a stranger talking to children on
Are you
the
guys
internet,
Christians?
And then we'll get there.
I'm a pagan, actually. I'm a former Hindu.
Okay.
And then
are you a Christian, Chesh?
And you're using this verse.
Are you a Christian?
I am more than happy to answer your questions once we can.
This is no true Scotsman fallacy coming in now, dude. Just don't do that.
No, it's the you don't believe the same thing as I do, therefore you don't understand what I'm doing and why it's okay.
Yeah. Oh,
exactly. Okay. Hey, you nailed it right on the head. If you're not a Christian,
I'm aware.
You're gonna totally disagree with what we're doing.
And we're trying to understand, but you're not letting us finish.
And your goal is to find fault with it and spread this fault and be like, hey, see, this is bad. This guy shouldn't be doing this.
But how would you feel? How would you feel if somebody?
By the way, the word creature is also used as the term creation. So the verse in the Bible, as I said, if you were to study it, okay, you said you just take the Bible literally.
All you've done is include rocks.
And you take the Bible literally, you have to study it with the word and the look at sometimes you have to look at the Hebrew and the Greek. And the word for creature also means creation. So what the verse is really saying is preach the gospel to all creation, not just creature. Again, if you study the original and the King James hand in hand, you would see what it really means. But if you want to focus on that and make it a mockery, by all means.
So
you're not doing the mockery. You're not doing as preached.
How would you feel, back on track, how would you feel if someone from a different religion did this to your children?
Well, I wouldn't let my children in an online video game talking to
that doesn't answer the question.
Muslims anyway.
That doesn't. So you wouldn't let your kids hang around and play games? Wait, Manya, stop, Manya. Would you? So you just said that you wouldn't let your kids hang around and play games with Muslims?
Like to get preached to a Muslim in a video game. That's what you're going with. You're saying, what if a Muslim got on a video game and started preaching to your Christian child? And I said I wouldn't let that happen in the first place.
I didn't say Muslim. I just said any other religion.
Hey, I used Muslim as an example, lady. Okay, any religion. Pick a religion. I don't care.
Sure. What about Hinduism? So you wouldn't be okay with that. You wouldn't be okay with anybody else doing what you're doing.
Again, I wouldn't let it happen.
Okay, so that means you're not okay
because
with it.
I am not okay with any kind of other religion being preached to my child other than Christianity.
Oh.
Right, so you are not okay with it if it's not your religion.
Of course, because all other religions are pagan idolatry. Hello?
Sure, fine,
I'm
whatever.
a Christian.
What do you...
I'm a Christian, hello?
Sure, fine. Yeah, sure, fine. I'm fine. I'm fine with this. I'm not disagreeing with your personal theology.
There's only one God, and you're like, oh, you wouldn't be okay with your children and listening to Islam?
Of course not. It's just funny for me.
If you read the Bible, literally every religion is false.
Therefore, it's
Hinduism
okay
is
for,
older
so it's
than
okay
Bible,
for
by
you
the
to
way.
do it because, no.
It's not
so
actually.
so it's okay
Satan
for
came up with Hinduism. The first people that were on the earth with Adam and Eve.
No.
Okay, the first people on the earth were Adam and Eve. If you think the earth is
Sorry, Shane,
6.5
I'm so
billion
sorry.
years old, you would think
Okay.
that. Okay,
Coming back.
you can
So-
go on and
coming
believe your
back, coming
paganism
back.
all you want, but that's not the truth of the world. The truth of it is that the world is only 6,000 years old, and Adam and Eve were the first people, and God made the first religion when He sacrificed the lamb to cover them when they sinned. Hinduism,
back to the-
Buddhism, Zeus, Greek, all
Okay.
that came later after that, after the flood of Noah.
Okay, so it's okay because you believe what
And
you're
you're
saying
laughing
is true.
because you think the world's like billions of years old, and it's not. That's why
So,
you don't
Dude,
believe what I'm
that's
saying,
so-
and you're
same as
laughing and
you.
you're
You find
mocking at
other
it
religions
because you don't
ridiculous.
believe
I
that.
find you ridiculous. The
I
simple
am
as the
more-
same. We understand.
I find
I
it more
am-
ridiculous that you think it's a problem going into Fortnite and teaching kids moralities. Okay, How can
that's
you
not
sit
what
there
you're
and
Not
doing.
literally-
morality.
how can
You're
you
not
how
doing
can you
that
sit
bit.
there and
You're
be
not
like,
doing that.
hey, you shouldn't go
No,
into
no,
Fortnite
no, no, no. Don't
and preach to kids
don't
about
switch.
not lying
Don't
or
switch.
adultery or hating your
don't
fellow
switch, man.
person.
You're
Don't
teaching
tell
religion.
kids
You're
that.
not teaching
Don't teach
morality.
kids that about the love of Jesus. I think it's more ridiculous that you guys think it's ridiculous.
I think so. I made my
So-
point.
So, you're okay with you doing it because it's what you believe is true, basically.
It's the truth. It's not what I believe. It's the truth. Okay.
Sure,
it's
whatever.
not.
The only
That's-
truth.
Melania, shut the fuck up before I kick you out.
Okay. All right.
Okay. If you guys swear again, I'm shutting it off because my kids
Yeah.
are running around.
No problem. No swearing
Oh.
again.
Oh, sorry.
So, you believe it is true, or it is the truth, sure. Therefore, it's okay for you to do that, right?
Again, why is it a problem for you
I'm trying
that
to
I
explain
teach
that.
kids
But I need
about
you to answer-
not lying?
I need
and
you
not
to answer.
stealing.
I need you to answer
Go
the
ahead.
question first, so we
Okay,
can
go
get
ahead.
there. So, yes, was I correct?
I'm about what?
You
That I believe
think
it's okay to do that?
That what you're doing is okay and totally fine, and in fact to be
It's
expected.
okay and totally fine.
Right, because you're telling the truth. You're saying what's true. That's
Yeah.
why you think it's okay to do. Right?
The only truth.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So yes. Right? Yeah?
I said I think it's okay. Yes.
Okay, but your reasoning for why you think it's okay is because you're speaking the truth. Or the only
And
truth.
because God told us to do it, and it's okay to teach children about Jesus. That's the reason
Okay.
why I think it's okay.
Well, okay, so we can get to the that's fine.
Is that not clear
I think
enough?
this is No, I'm just making sure that like this is oddly difficult. So when someone else does the same thing, as far as they're concerned, they're in the clear for the same reasons you just listed.
What's your point?
So other people
If you're saying a
can do
Muslim
it,
is going to think that he's okay with doing it because he believes his is right, yeah, he's going to think
Correct.
that. Yeah. What's the
Uh-huh.
point?
so that means anybody of any religion can do what you're doing and you can't really have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with them doing that,
You
but
just
I
said
wouldn't
you
want
would.
them doing it to look. If they do that, that's on them. That's fine. Is it do I think it's unfortunate that they're doing that because they're spreading a lie? Sure. But I'm not going to go in there and go on their Twitter or go on their YouTube or go on their social medias and say, I can't believe you're doing that. This is so crazy. Someone needs to cancel this guy right now.
Then why are you
You
tweeting
know,
about
said you want to cancel
then,
him.
hold on.
Nobody said.
I may
time out.
have a problem with them doing that, but I'm not going to do anything about it or say anything about it because everybody has their right to do what they want. It's not illegal for them to do that. It's not wrong from a perspective of government or agencies to do that. So
then why are you tweeting about LGBTQ plus people?
what's that?
Then why are you tweeting about why are you doing that to LGBTQ plus people?
Hold on, I got to turn you up. What's your question?
Your Twitter has anti-LGBTQ plus stuff on it. So
Yeah.
so then why are you doing that to them?
Why am I doing what to who?
Well, you just said you wouldn't have an issue.
I'm not
with
doing
other
anything
people.
to anybody. I'm talking about an opinion. What are you
So if
talking
you
about?
talk about
What am I
it,
doing
so
to somebody?
So
What am I doing to somebody?
So if you talk about it, it's okay, but if other people do it, it's not okay.
Again, what am I talking? What are you talking about? You say I post LGBTQ stuff on my Twitter What am I doing to people? What are you talking about?
So if you post anti-LGBTQ plus stuff, you're criticizing them for living their lives and existing, correct?
No, not at all. That's
Then
not what
why
that
are you-
means.
Then
If
why
I
are you-
say, let me
Why are you
look it up
tweeting
here.
then?
Hold on. Let me give you an
I
example.
just
Hold on.
don't understand why.
There are
believing
two
that she's-
genders.
All right.
There are two genders, male, female, man, woman. It's the same thing as your sex, period. You can't rewrite what you think gender should be. That's not, I'm not talking to any specific person and putting down a specific person about that. That's an opinion that I'm tweeting about. Here's
So the
another
issue
one.
is that
Stop
the issue is that
labeling
it's
Christians as homophobic and bigots. I mean, where's the anti-LGBTQ stuff that you're saying I'm posting, by the way?
No, you just agreed that it was anti-LGBTQ plus. You're just saying that it's not an issue because you're not talking about an individual.
I'm going along with what you're saying. Like, you're saying that's anti-LGBTQ. I don't think necessarily it is. You're saying it is. So I'm
telling
I'm
trans
referencing
people
that
that
post.
they're wrong.
I'm referencing that post and how you're referencing it is what I'm saying.
Okay, hold on. I gotta catch up with that backpedal. So, if
it's not a backpedal, I was referencing it in a way that you were referencing it because I knew what post you're talking about. Okay, I don't think it's necessarily anti-LGBTQ. I think it's just spitting facts about basic science. Okay.
I mean, you have a lot of opinions.
That's not science.
You have a lot of opinions.
Oh,
that
there's
I think
only two genders, male and
with.
female. That's not science. I think you should lift up your skirt and check again.
Oh,
let's be real. Are any of us wearing skirts anymore?
With your child present in the room?
Well,
it was a figure of speech. It wasn't. I didn't mean literally do it.
Oh,
no.
okay. Got it. I was also going with the figure of speech, man.
Show me. You have my Twitter open. Open up a Twitter post and tell me what post you're talking about being anti-LGBTQ, and I'll respond to that particular post. And tell you why I'm not attacking a community. Just an ideology. Basically, it's defending against a certain ideology, not a group of people.
We can get to that ideology thing. That's
a group of people are involved in that.
Yeah,
ideology is a different kind of conversation. That's a whole big nest that we don't need to necessarily go into right now. We can definitely have another conversation if we want to. But
well, hey, you brought it up. You brought the correlation to that to
well,
LGBTQ.
I'm trying to get back to my question.
First, you're like, is it okay if a Muslim does this in games and stuff? And then you brought up, why are you talking to LGBTQ people about this on Twitter? You know, you like jumped.
Guys,
so you don't know. So you don't know how I got from point A to point B.
How can you talk about Muslims going around teaching people about Islam and Fortnite to me tweeting about something that has to do with LGBTQ?
Okay.
So where are you making the correlation there?
Yeah, I'll explain. So basically what I'm asking is, when I asked you about whether or not you'd be okay with somebody from another religion doing what you're doing to your children, you said no. You said what you're doing is okay.
I wouldn't let a Muslim man teach my daughter about Islam. No, I would not, because I'm a Christian and I believe that's an idolatrous religion. So of course I wouldn't let that happen.
Okay. And so when I asked you why it was okay for you to do it, the reason was because this is what you believe and it's true and it is the only truth. And so what you're doing is okay. And then you went on and said that you wouldn't do it to anybody else. You wouldn't have an issue with an individual or people doing what you're doing. And so my question became, then why are you tweeting? Because you're like, I wouldn't go on people's Twitters. I wouldn't go out to YouTube. I wouldn't bring these things up. So why are you
I'm
tweeting?
On my Twitter. I'm on my Twitter.
So yes,
I'm on my Twitter.
You're quoting someone in that. You're quoting someone.
I said I wouldn't go on somebody else's Twitter and yell at them and try to hashtag everybody in my that I could hashtag or at to try to cancel somebody because what they went and did in a video game.
You quoted the person, dude. You quoted someone in that tweet.
What are you talking about?
You quoted it. The tweet that you said that
I'm gonna pull the tweet up and show it.
Male, female, man, woman. It's the same thing. You're tweeting someone Brian 6320361. So that's not going to their.
No, it's not because He was on
You
my
are going to other people's
Twitter.
Twitter.
He was on
So
my
he's-
Twitter. I didn't go to his page. What are you talking about?
So hold
That
on.
wasn't
So he
response.
came to you. So he's a fair game. That's what you're saying.
Look, you got that was in a thread. Click on his thing right there.
No. I'm saying so if
Where's
someone
that
comes to you,
thread
they're
at?
a game.
Scroll up.
Oh, let's
look,
go,
it's part of the tweet about Dextro. Am I going to his page? No, I'm not. I'm responding to what he said on this tweet.
Let's see.
But this also isn't your Twitter. He didn't tweet to you on your Twitter.
I'm not going to his
conversation.
page. Listen,
You went to Dextero's page.
You guys were saying that I said that I would not go to somebody else's Twitter page and condemn them and try to get them canceled because of what they do in a game, right?
We're not trying to get you
and you're
canceled,
saying,
He didn't even tweet to you directly.
You correlate that, me responding to a tweet, as me doing that. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on,
You
Chesh, if I
actually-
may. Chesh.
Oh, time.
Chesh. So, Dexter tweeted, he didn't tag you or anything. Some people answered to it, and then you decided to join the thread. And then someone replied to you, and then you quoted them. So you went to someone's Twitter. You did go to someone's Twitter to talk about it.
They actually didn't.
Yes.
To point out real quick, they actually didn't respond to you. They not directly, at least. You were in the tags, but they responded to.
Yeah, I was looking at the responses.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying you're
Dextro.
wrong for checking your responses. That's fine. But you did, in fact, find somebody who was not on your page.
What are you talking about? Where are you going with this? I literally said.
I'm just saying that you are that you have double standards for some reason.
Listen to me. Listen, because you don't understand. I'm not clicking on
We
Brian's
understand.
tweet.
Don't treat us as stupid people.
You don't understand. I'm not going to Brian's Twitter page. Click on his Twitter page. Go to his Twitter page. Click on it.
I don't want to pick on this one random person.
Just click on his Twitter page.
Why?
I'm making a point.
Why do I need to click on it?
I'm not clicking on his Twitter page and going to his profile and adding adding Fortnite and Call of Duty and saying you need to cancel Brian for what he said about gender.
Brian has I'm just gonna go through this real quick. Fine.
And
you want me to show the page?
You're saying I'm doing that just because I responded to a tweet
in
the comments on
Dextro.
Not
clicking on the page.
I will explain.
How do you circle to that? I will
explain, and I'm
crazy.
going to. I will explain. So Brian,
I don't look to cancel people.
Brian out here has 20 followers.
I can't believe we're still on this. I can't believe you're
You asked us.
I can't believe that we have to explain how Twitter works. You can't retweet somebody you can retweet them from their page, but you don't
we either move past this or I'm gone. All right.
Okay, fine. Leave. You don't want to hear the. You don't want to hear. If you don't want to hear,
it is clear. I do not go to people's profile.
If you do not want to hear the answer to your question, then leave. If you want to hear the answer to your question, you're more than welcome to stay and hear the answer. If you don't want to hear it, it's going to take us a long time because you don't want to answer things straight up. You don't want to face the hypocrisy that we're trying to present to you because you interrupt us partway through instead of actually hearing out the entire thing because you're so concerned about where we're going instead of actually hearing out what we have to say before you try to jump in. So please, go ahead.
I'm clearly not doing it. That's why. I said I don't go to people's Twitters and try to cancel them, and you're trying to prove somehow that I do go to people's Twitters and involve them and try to cancel them.
That's also not what I
started with.
That's what I said. I do not. I'm doing things on my Twitter, and you guys are like, no, you're going to other people's Twitters.
So you're making a fallacious argument that we're trying to cancel you
on an article about me. You're saying, oh, we caught you. Oh,
no.
Like, are you kidding me?
How does that?
No,
how does
actually,
that point out that we want to cancel you? Are you implying that we want to cancel you? When we have said it again and again that we don't want to cancel you, we are here to have a conversation with you.
I'm not talking about
Where did we say that we want to cancel
wanting
you?
to cancel me. I'm talking about the
why
people that are going to my Twitter and adding me to try to cancel me. Like, if you go to my Twitter, I can show you a really fine example, but you're probably not going to.
We're not talking about them. We are talking about you and us. We are having a conversation here. Please, let's have that conversation instead of focusing on what the other fucking dude is doing. We are not related to them. Come on, man. Let's
I'm
stick to the
going
topic,
to
please.
explain, and then we can move
Yeah,
on.
you're not having a conversation. You keep talking at me and mocking me. So let's continue on with the
Well,
conversation
you
Manya.
interfere.
So, I'm going to explain the situation. We can
Go
look
ahead.
at whatever tweet you want to look at afterwards. I've got your stuff pulled up right here. So if we want to look at your stuff, we can look at your stuff. But before we do that, I am going to answer your question and explain how I got from point A to point B of going to the LGBTQ quote that we're looking at.
From Muslim talking to my kids
Yes.
in Fortnite to LGBTQ. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So I'm just going to jump us right back and explain this situation. So, when we were talking about that, I asked you a question you had answered by saying that you don't have a problem with other people doing this because you wouldn't put your kids in that scenario, and that you wouldn't be going around criticizing them for doing so by going to their tweets or their pages or their content and saying otherwise and criticizing them. Correct? Right. So
well, in the manner
I went
of let me respond. Just retort that one brief section, and I'll let you continue here.
Mhm.
I would not go in the manner of trying to cancel them, but I didn't say there's nothing wrong with responding to a tweet that I see in a comment section. I would not go directly to their page and try to cancel them and at Epic Games and Fortnite and Call of Duty say you need to remove this person from all your platforms. I would not do that. Okay.
None of that came up. So I was pointing out that you were being critical of the LGBTQ plus community, right? And talking about
on
that
my
stuff
page by talking about gender. Yes.
Right. So you were doing that. You were critical
on my
of those
page.
With
on my page.
So this
on
is
my
where
page.
I'm getting but that's where I'm getting the correlation from. You are in
What's
fact
the question?
critical. You are in fact critical of these things and critical of people doing the thing that you're doing. But it's okay for you to be critical of them, but not other people for being critical of you, because you said in the beginning that it wasn't reasonable for people to be critical of you and what you're doing.
Are LGBTQ members going into Fortnite and trying to get Fortnite kids to be gay?
That's not the question.
I'm asking you that question.
It doesn't matter.
Are LGBTQ members trying to do that to Fortnite kids? Yes or no?
That is not the question.
Are you aware? Can I just answer the question? I'll get to the
No,
point.
I'm not
Yes
going
or
to
no?
let you dodge off of
Okay,
this
no,
point.
you know you're not going to answer the question. Okay.
Correct.
The thing is they're not doing that. So why would I have a problem? Because the problem doesn't exist with that. If I comment on LGBTQ matters, it's not because they're going in a game to indoctrinate children. It's about other issues in the world and in the social agenda of the world. Okay.
And
we're
what's
talking
the social
about
agenda of
listen,
the world?
let me finish for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about me going into Fortnite and preaching the gospel to kids. And I said I wouldn't have a problem, if other people want to do that and they were doing that with their religion. I just would not subject my kid to that. And you're jumping from that concept to going to Twitter and me talking about LGBTQ stuff. Well, LGBTQ members, to my knowledge, are not going into games and preaching transgenderism and indoctrination to kids in Fortnite. So they're not doing what I'm doing, and I'm not, and it's a completely separate issue, is what I'm saying. I don't know why you're going to that.
Because of
we're
this,
talking
because
about
I wanted to get
me preaching in games. And what if another religion did that or something? And
Because I
now
wanted
you
to
want to
get-
like completely go to this different subject, is what I'm saying.
Because I wanted to get you to explain to me exactly, finally got the answer that I've been trying to get, the question I was trying to get answered. You do not think that it's okay for you to do what you do if it's not you doing it. Period.
No, if another Christian is doing it and going into Fortnite, if another Christian is going into Fortnite and teaching kids about Jesus, I'm all for it.
Right. It's okay if you're doing it. It's okay if it's what you believe. It's not okay
if some
if
other guy
do
is doing it, I'm okay with him doing it too. It's not just me.
What if they're a Catholic and they want your child to start praying to Mary?
Again, I wouldn't have my child on Fortnite to begin with, talking to a Catholic.
So you're taking advantage of parents who are not doing the same things you think is safe for your children.
It's the parents' choice. I choose to keep my kid away from it, and their parents choose to let their kid play it.
and you choose to take advantage of something that you don't agree with from a parenting standpoint.
Preach the gospel truth to people. Again, you're focusing on the kid aspect, because all you're focusing here is on kids.
Yeah,
even though 90% of the people I talk to, even though 90% of the people I talk to in Fortnite are adults, and you're just constantly again focused on the kid aspect of it. But yeah, I'm fine with teaching kids about Jesus in Fortnite.
You know what? You want to talk about the problems of doing this with adults? We can talk about the problems of doing this with adults.
Well, you just seem to be focused on the kid aspect, so yeah, let's change it to adults.
Yeah, let's switch it up. Let's switch it up to adults. So, you're sitting down, you get home from a really rough day, you sit down to enjoy your game, and somebody starts preaching at you.
Well, that would be a problem if that's what I did, but I don't. I ask them if they want to talk about it. And if they say no, I move on.
So you are literally going around. You are the I'm gonna knock on the door. Would you like to talk about you get
I'm literally going into Fortnite and asking them if they want to talk about the Bible, and if they say no, if they're nice and they have a mic and they say no, sometimes I'll stick around in the game and just play the game with them. And sometimes I'll just leave if they're not very talkative.
So go ahead.
Again, I asked them if they want to talk about it.
Can I talk?
Hmm?
Me?
You're good.
Okay, cool. So the thing is that this whole thing about adults and children, the thing is that kids most of the time don't know, especially when they're from other countries.
What if we're on the kids thing again? Okay.
Can I finish? Oi, dude, can I finish? I haven't been talking because I've been muted by Chesh. Dude.
Go ahead,
I did mute her.
The thing is that they're kids who won't know about Christianity, and they might just think it's just any other topic and might say yes to it. You're taking advantage of their naivety to impose your religion on them. Number one. Number two, with adults also, you ask them first that if they want to talk about it. Kids cannot consent if they don't know about something. What the fuck?
I say, hey, do you know what the Bible is? Yeah, sure I do. Okay, cool. Is it cool if we talk about that? Sure.
Children are still naive. Children are still naive. They cannot consent. If they cannot
I think you're making a big judgment about certain kids. What
no,
about a 13-year-old? You don't think a 13?
No, I'm not.
You don't think a 13-year-old is smart enough to know about the Bible?
Time out. Okay,
so here's the... You don't think a 13-year-old is smart enough or has the mental capacity to know about the Bible?
Do you think a 13-year-old is old enough to consent to sex?
Absolutely. You hear some of the things 9-year-olds come out of their mouth?
You think a 9-year-old can consent to sex?
Crazy things come out of a 9-year-old's mouth. You don't think a 13-year-old is old enough to say,
sex?
Do I want to talk about the Bible? Yes or no?
Did you not hear what I said? You didn't hear what I said?
You're not listening.
I asked, do you think a 13-year-old
is there a law that says, is this Islam? Are you guys living in America, by the way?
No, neither of us are American.
Europe?
No, I'm New Zealander. She's a Canadian.
do they have laws where there's a law that you cannot talk to a kid in a certain age?
Yes.
Did you hear the question I asked a second ago?
In Canada? Mana, you mean you can't walk down the street and talk to a random kid? There's laws that prevent you from doing that?
In New Zealand? Or in Canada?
Mania.
Yeah.
I don't know where she lives.
You can't.
New Zealand.
I'm not talking. Oh man, seriously, don't conflate two topics. Talking on
I'm asking you if there's
on
laws
internet
in
is very two
place
different things.
that
So
say
on
you can't
internet
talk
there are
to a
laws
kid
protecting from adults
on the
from
street
interacting
around
with
your
children.
house under a certain age.
Especially about sex.
I think I can answer this.
Yeah, I don't talk to kids about sex.
I think I can answer the.
Are you child, dude? Why are you behaving so childishly?
Wait. All right. So if you're
just.
Well, is it social? We're talking about whether or not there's laws and whether or not something is socially acceptable. Is it socially acceptable to walk as a stranger?
If someone thinks it's not socially acceptable or not, I don't care, bro. What do you? Why would I care if it's socially acceptable or not?
The
Bible in many places is not.
Okay, listen. If you're not able to let somebody finish the point, I'm going to mute you. Simple as that. There's a difference between talking about what is illegal or not and what is socially acceptable. You're asking if there are laws against things. And as the counterpoint is, it is not socially acceptable for a stranger to go and walk up to a random child on the playground and start talking to them at all about anything, let alone anything that involves things like sinning and dying and going to hell, because it's none of your business. You are not their parent. Secondly, Manya asked about consent and talked about consent. There are laws, in fact, about what kids can and cannot consent to and at what age. And I assure you that all of them are well above the age of 13. Now, you are unmuted.
Okay, I don't care whether or not you think it's socially acceptable or not. I don't care. I'm going to still go into Fortnite, talk to kids about the Bible if one comes up. I don't care about your opinion or whether you think it's wrong. I'm still going to do it. So
And
if
why
you guys
are you
are
here
just
to have a conversation
if you guys
about
want
it?
to, if well, the conversation is not going to change my opinion, and I really highly don't think it's going to change your opinion either. And I think you're,
Actually, I was pretty convinced by you
I think you just
changing
want to argue.
your. Actually, I was pretty convinced by you saying that you were changing your aspect and the way that you were going about these conversations, particularly with the idea of beginning to ask. Because
but you still don't think I should be talking to kids on Fortnite about the Bible.
We're trying to explain to you why people have an issue.
I know
with this.
why you think it is, and I don't care.
Then why are you here? If you
Because
don't care what, if you
wanted
don't
to
care
talk
what
to
social,
me.
if you don't
You
care
want
what,
to talk to me. If you
I
don't
will
want to talk to me
finish.
anymore, I'll go. I got things to do.
Okay, bye. Hey, bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Have a good one.
So long. Goodbye.
Hope this conversation.
All right, so we did a show riffing on this guy and his content and the silly, goofy, dumb things he was doing. I offered that if he wanted to have a chat, he was more than welcome to have a chat. This was the result. So, he doesn't care about the audience. He doesn't care about children. He doesn't care who's listening. He just wants a soapbox, and he just wants to be able to say whatever he wants to say. And he seems to think that 9-year-olds and 13-year-olds can consent to sex. So that's a thing.
Also, like, didn't he say he said he didn't need to prepare. He needs to prepare.
He needs to prepare.
He needs to prepare if he wants to come in these conversations. And yeah.
Sorry, Monty, I had to cut you off because you were swearing too much.
What? Oh, really? I'm so sorry. Yeah, I knew you had a good reason to do that.
I figured you didn't realize. He didn't seem to notice either, so I just muted you because you got too excited and you were just splitting off. So I was like, oh, I don't want. If he's gonna run away, I would rather he run away because he's not willing to actually have the conversation or actually own up to anything, and that he's not even here to do anything of value anyway.
Yeah. So the thing is that, yeah, I did tweet with him and ask him if he wants to join us. But then he has to explain his reasons why he wanted to join us. And he's like, because you asked. I'm like, okay, so we are trying to have a conversation. I don't care. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Do you think he just comes into any conversation that anybody says? Like, if he doesn't care, then why is he concerned that people are criticizing him?
I don't know. He popped in the chat.
He also didn't have any reason as to why it was acceptable because... Well, the answer is he had to jump to immediately, I don't care, because he didn't want to answer the question as to whether or not it was acceptable and why it wasn't acceptable for a stranger to walk up to a child at a playground and do what he does to people.
Yeah, and then this is what it is, and then trying to conflate whether it's legal or socially acceptable.
Right,
that's
and
what
then he got mad about it being socially acceptable. It's like, no, there are legal conditions for consent.
And talking to kids in a playground and talking to kids on internet, online, are two very different things, dude. Very different things.
Well, at least in the playground in general, the parent is physically present to intervene as necessary.
And walking on the street, too. There's generally a parent present. So talking to kids online, it's very different. The opportunities for exploitation, the degree of secrecy, the way you can hide your information and still get away with doing things is on much massive magnitude, magnanimous scale. So for you to just obfuscate to is very, very, I don't know, I should call you arrogant or ignorant, I don't know, or disingenuous, I don't know. Pick your poison.
So I'm going to go through real quick.
And for you to say...
Sorry, go ahead.
And if you don't care, If you don't care, then why do you care that people are criticizing you? Why do you repost other people's tweets and say, oh, this is not what it is, I'm going to post the context, if you don't care? You care. That's why you want to present a context. But when people don't buy your bullshit, then you go, okay, I don't care.
Yeah, this is his pinned tweet.
This is like the 280 words, tweet.
The thing was, he also got really upset about the idea of the number of times. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's not acceptable to even do it once.
Yeah. I was like, why do it in the first place? That's what my question was. And he wasn't answering that. He was just going on tangents.
So just to get some of the super chats in here, and he told me, he used a metaphor or a saying by saying that, oh, pull up your skirt and have a look, with his child in the background. Right. Awesome, dude. Awesome. And he's worried about someone swearing.
Who was.
He really seemed not. And God's auditor made a good point. He really did not seem very interested in clarifying or correcting that sex thing and consent thing.
I think so that actually triggered him. That actually triggered him to get off.
Oh, well,
or whatever.
You know, Godless Scummer for 2 said... Charity. Godless Scummer for 2 said, the kid was mature, the Nambla defense. Oh, yikes. Slicebar came for 666 said, he are not teaching morality, you are imposing religious indoctrination. Correct. And Godless Scummer for 2 said, Manscaped should sponsor him as he likes grooming.
Oh, yikes. God. Yikes. Savage. And that's what my thing is. That's why the first time when first time he told me, oh, he goes into Fortnite and he talks to kid, I was like, what? What the fuck? And I think so there's someone behind him who's sitting on a system who looked like an adult, and they told him not to do that even once. Like, dude, what are you thinking?
No, the adult behind him was concerned that we were definitely having a... What did they say? A friendly or something conversation? So the sarcasm from the background, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said something, but I was like, nah, it's okay. It's fine.
And
all right, well,
and the whataboutism, the amount of whataboutism this dude went through. Oof. And the no true Scotsman's fallacy that he was trying to bring in. Or are you Christian?
You know what was really fun about that? He tried to call out the reason why we were saying something, and wasn't right a single time, but the one time I did it, I was like, oh, he's like, no, exactly. I'm like, yes, I understand. I understand you because I'm listening and I'm paying attention. You don't understand me because you're not listening or paying attention because you don't care, which he wasn't
listening. He wasn't listening to us. He just wanted to talk at us. He was doing that. We were trying to listen. And it was
a problem that we were listening, because as soon as we went back to say, okay, well, what about this or what about that, I was like writing down some of the questions. I had notepad.
That's called that type of method, if I might say, that kind of method is called filibustering, where you just keep talking over the other person and don't let them finish their point.
Right.
That's a tactic that's used in debates.
You've also got a situation where you've got somebody who is a young earther, anti-science, anti-education person who wants to educate children about biological sex.
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is like, if you play Fortnite, you have to understand that even though he is tweeting on his own Twitter, right? He is retweeting somebody else's content.
That's what I said, yeah.
Dragging that individual, and so, he is going after an individual by doing that. But besides that, because he jumped into this cancel thing that nobody brought up until that point, so he tried to backtrack into that. Fine, whatever. But he is talking to his audience. His audience, if he's playing these games, as Ninja knows, because Ninja has talked about this, if he wants to talk about other creators, are between certain ages. There is a demographic. Twitch has analytics that will tell you what age group you are looking at, who is making your audience up. And like I said, even if your audience is a majority of adults, why do you think the majority of adults are going to think it's interesting that you had this conversation with a child? You 100% branded yourself that way, or at least branded your videos that way.
Yeah. Why make those thumbnails? Why put kids in your titles? And
did those
parents,
if those kids are minors, they might not have consented to the content you use and what you made. So there may very well be a legal issue involved in this if those kids are ever identified.
And also, if you notice, his videos are not like 30 minutes long or like 45 minutes long, like how long, I don't know how long the Fortnite game is. These are like chunks of like 20, 18, 15 minutes, 12 minutes. We don't know how long conversations he has had with those kids. This is all edited. So,
Right.
I don't know. So you take out the context yourself and then you whine about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let the context stay in there. Why not let it stay in there? I wonder why. Can I speculate now? As you were trying to speculate what our intentions were, sir? My guy?
I do enjoy the
finish?
Are you American? None of us are.
Are you American? None of us are Americans, dude.
Nope.
Oh, God. That was glorious. Hey, listen. I was just trying to have a conversation with him. I was just like, would you like to join us?
I can't stand by this hypocritical, it's okay if I do it because I believe what I'm saying is the truth. Lots of people believe what they say is truth. In fact, that's a component of belief. You can't believe something you don't think is true. And so it's not only redundant, but it tells me that you probably don't have the education to be speaking on the topics that you are speaking on. But besides that, it tells me that you can't. Anybody would be allowed to do what you're doing about any topic, any of them, because they believe what they're saying is true. You can say anything to a kid.
Yeah, and on his timeline, on his Twitter, he said, esports missionary. Why aren't you a missionary in real life? I wonder.
Why did you choose to
I
do
wonder
this on the
why.
internet? Is it because you think you can make more money on the internet? Is that why?
Possibly. He has a website, DrWitnesser, witnessmysteries.org, .org, bringing the gospel to gamers. Fuck my life. Listen, I'm not good. The thing was that I was ready to listen to him, but the statements he was making in between was so like asinine. I was just like, dude. That's what happens when an American meets non-American.
About Edward Preach. Edward Preach, formerly Dr. Witnesser, goes into Fortnite duo and squad games, Call of Duty and Sea of Thieves. His only goal to teach people about the Bible. Behind parents' backs. Original Fortnite preacher dedicates himself to calling people out of Babylon, especially letting people know about the three angels' messages, teaching Bible truth, preparing hearts for the soon second coming of Christ. He's a Seventh-day Adventist, but what's more, he's a Christian content creator, Christian streamer, Christian YouTuber, and Christian TikToker. You're gonna have to take, why would you put streamer and YouTuber? Probably because it used to say Twitch.
Yeah.
You name it. Furthermore, he does it to try to reach gamers with the gospel online. So here's the thing, right? You have a bit of an issue when you want to try to have a conversation and you're going to be rude, you're going to interrupt people, you're going to assume what the other people have to say or what they're saying or what their motivations are for saying it instead of actually engaging in the conversation.
Yeah. He didn't let you finish. He didn't let me finish. And he tried using the excuse of there's a lag. No,
he was way worse. He was way worse with you than he was with me.
Yeah. And I had to like scream at him to make him stop like interfering with me. I'm just like, boy, can you let me finish? It's like, and it's So one, I wonder why he's not a mainstream minister, because I guess
Silly Goose says,
convincing adults of like stories is very much more difficult
it's
than
still
children,
not
isn't
an
it?
appropriate thing to do to adults. He's basically doing the annoying megaphone thing, but on video games, which is like annoying, and you shouldn't bother people like that. It's frustrating. But especially since you're doing it for content.
And
but
it's
not illegal. His only defense was, is it illegal?
That's what I was going to say. His only defense was, in the end, it's not illegal, so I can do it. If that's what you got in the end, boy oh boy. I wonder what else you're doing that's not illegal.
So, well, here's the thing. If you want to use that argument, you're already telling me that you're not preaching morality to people, because you don't understand what morality is, because laws follow societal's expectations and morality at the time, not the other way around, by the way laws function.
Or you have different standards of morals for yourself, higher standard of morals for yourself and your children, and lower for others, because you don't consider them as your equals. Because he was like, I wouldn't let my children to be subjected to that, but I can do it to others' children.
Right.
Behind their back.
Because he's a hypocrite.
He's a hypocrite. Double standards. Definitely double standards. And he thinks he's higher above people who are not Christians, which is so sad. So sad. He could have been a regular guest on a show, if he was not such an
Are you
such
kidding?
An asshole.
I hope he comes back and I can bring him on with Dapper and we can talk about the age of the Earth.
Right? Yeah, let's go. He's like,
there were so many
wrong.
things.
It's not billions of years old. It's 6,000 years old. Yeah, because Hinduism says, kind of accurately predicts the age of Earth to around 4 to 4.5 billion years.
The amount of waffling and the amount of attempts at detracting from a question when I was halfway through the sentence was amazing. Anyway,
this is a masterclass on how to deal with people who throw everything at you that's there in the debate book at you. Waffling, filibustering, switching, and pivoting.
Yeah, real quick, Silly Goose just said he streams on TikTok and on YouTube. That's why it just says streamer. Except it doesn't just say streamer. It says content creator, streamer, and then it also mentions YouTube and TikTok specifically. So, like, it's just bad grammar. Yeah. But whatever. It's not a big deal.
Sentence structure. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, well. That was fun. Another hour and a half. We thought we were going to finish on time to this session.
God's Auditor actually has a really, really fucking good point before we leave. Does he ask permission to use the kids on the video? No, then it's child exploitation.
Yeah. And as I said, he's using the children's naivety that they don't know much about the Bible to start preaching them Bible. Oh, do you know about Bible? Yeah,
well,
of course.
Why you asked
okay,
about
here
consent.
You go.
That's why you asked about consent, and then he got really weird about consent.
Yeah, for some reason. God. Ugh. Because
I what his
I think so.
This guy. Okay, tell me if you think I'm wrong. Do you think this guy what do you think this guy's thoughts are on marital rape?
Oh, no, there's no marital rape according to him. There's no marital rape.
Okay, go on.
And also, he was weirded by consent, and I was weirded out further because he spoke about that child. That child was mature, and I was like, these are the people. Yeah, these are the people who justify child marriages because girls mature faster than boys. They think it's okay to sexualize young girls because youngs mature faster than boys. This is what the mindset. This is what comes from this whole thing about children being mature for their age. Bullshit. Children are still innocent. You do not get to take advantage of that.
He said that you could tell how mature somebody is based on having like a conversation with them. But if you're preaching, you're not having a conversation. And if you're talking to people the way you were talking to us, you also are not having a conversation. So you are in no position to determine anyone's maturity level.
Yeah. To say that, that was me 3 years ago, the way he was talking now, the way he was trying to justify things now, I don't think he's changed. He might have changed his language a little bit. He's still talking to children. Yep. He's still talking to teenagers. And he's editing out stuff we don't know what. So, buddy, I don't believe you. Start posting your full streams or Fortnite streams and your full conversations, which might be hours long, then I'll start believing
like
you.
the VODs.
Before that, bullshit. Yeah.
I'm not gonna go through that much of this guy's content. That is gonna be a waste of my time.
Yeah. Don't need to. You don't need to. The first thing you see on his thumbnail is that I talk to kids, and there's a picture of a child, and these like I'm using my son's picture. You're exploiting your son in front of the whole world while you're saying, "Oh, don't swear because my son's in the room," but you're okay with putting his picture on your thumbnail for everyone to see.
Well,
okay, got it.
And the trailer of the channel has his son in it. He's running around in the background, completely unaware that he was
in the background now. He was in the background now when we were talking.
Yep.
God,
this is specifically why I said it would be better to schedule something so that way he could do it in a time and a place where. Well, no, he wants an excuse. Also, why are you coming on a channel called Debate Hub and then saying you debate children as if children are capable of debating? They're not. Children aren't capable of debate. They're just not. There's not enough experience.
They might be capable.
They can argue.
They might be. Yeah, but they can be capable of debating with their peers when they are practicing to become debaters. They can have
a discussion. You can talk to a child. You can have a discussion. You're not having a debate.
Not debate.
You're not debating children.
Yeah, God's auditor, don't swear my son's in the room.
Yeah, is a suppressive tactic. He's policing your language. Yes. No, I was aware of that. He gave us a heads up about that. I just decided to accept the condition.
Yeah.
And Manya broke it. Good job, Manya.
Yeah, man, I don't care. Who cares? Kids, you know how many... I'm quite sure he must have swore in front of his kids many times. And told them don't say the word that your daddy said because that's a bad word. I'm telling you.
Maybe not. Some people will disguise being a rude piece of shit as I didn't swear. So.
Oh yeah, I'm a good guy. I don't swear. I preach Bible. I can't be a bad guy. Mm-mm.
I was really looking forward to having a discussion with him saying like, actually, it's been like a good number of years since I did that. I thought it was wrong to do so, and so, like when it was presented that way, and so I changed my tactic and I do it this way instead. Except that's why as soon as he brought up the context thing, I was like, okay, but what is the missing information? And then he just repeated the same thing.
Oh, it will happen to everyone, so including the child you're talking to.
But it doesn't matter the religion. The clip followed, right? The clip followed the whole way. But he does seem to have a thing against Muslims, though. He kept bringing Muslims up, and I was like, okay, but all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should get on out of here. Feel free to join us in the Discord maybe after this. I gotta go get a drink and stuff. And
I'm gonna get something to eat.
I'll probably hop into the chat if anybody wants to discuss this further. Feel free to join us.
Yeah, I don't know if Dr. Witness has left our Discord. I really hope he doesn't, because we'll have a lot of conversations around this, and if he wants to join us, he can. But he needs to let other people.
I don't know why you're streaming or why you're trying to talk to anybody if you don't care about anyone's opinions or don't care about having any kind of discussion and don't care about your audience.
Do you know what happened to a family that tried to exploit their children? The Daddy of Five, where they played pranks on their children.
Yeah,
remember? Really. Their channel was taken away, and their children got taken away from them.
Yep.
Just be careful. I'm not saying that. I'm not asking anyone to do this, but there might be someone out there who might think this is weird. This guy should not have children in his. He shouldn't be a guardian of children because he doesn't know boundaries, or doesn't know how to follow boundaries with children. So you better be careful. Yeah.
It's better to be careful. You shouldn't. It's just better to not.
Yeah, he left. I know. He left. Oh, okay.
So, thank you so much. That was Dr. Witnesser. You can feel free to go check out more of his content. The evolution denier, the young Earth creationist, and the guy who likes to preach to people on Fortnite and stuff. At least he said he asks now, so that's nice. And the guy who doesn't seem to have an issue with 9-year-olds being able to consent. So I'm gonna get on out of here. Thanks, Manya. I will be back live probably, what day is it tomorrow? Saturday. Busy Saturday. So I'll be back live on Sunday I also have the live on Twitch, probably playing Tears of the Kingdom. So if you'd like to join for that, I like to make sure that everybody knows my content is not for children. So if you're a child, please go away. Thank you.
Yeah, don't, buddy.
As well as there will be the regular stream on Tuesday. There is videos that come out here, as well as shorts coming out in the next little while. And feel free to join us in the Discord and any of the links down below. I'll make sure to add this guy's stuff that he was shilling to the description down below as well, in case you guys are interested. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are going to get on out of here. Say bye, Manya.
Bye.